Hello everyone, I'm Catherine Scott and welcome to an AP Lit crash course on William Faulkner's As I Lay Dying. Today, we will be exploring how expectations of women in the rural South during the 1920s confined and limited Addie Bundren, thus contributing to the rejection of her marriage and four of her children, and one affair, one defiance of these expectations, leaving her with a true love for its product, her son, Jewel. The first idea we will be working with is Addie's indifference towards her relationship with aunts. A little historical background on the topic of marriage can help us further understand Addie's unfavorable societal standing. In the rural South during the 1920s, a woman's major and virtually only route to social status and/or economic security was marriage. This fact is clearly demonstrated in Addie's chapter when she is talking to aunts for the first time. Addie states, "But you've got a house. They tell me you've got a house and a good farm. A new house. Are you going to get married?" In order for Addie to secure a social standing, she first had to inquire about Aunts' farm. This marriage was not built on the foundations of love, but rather as a means for Addie to live up to her expectations as a woman at this time. These limitations confined her, eventually leading her to the tepid statement of, "So I took Aunts." Addie repeats this line throughout her chapter, reinforcing the lack of enthusiasm she feels towards her union with him. For women in the rural South, as soon as you were married, they expected you to stay at home, have children, and rock the cradle. After the confine of marriage is put onto Addie, it is coupled with yet another constraint, leading me right into the next expectation of motherhood. During the 1920s, in the rural South, fertility rates remained the highest in the nation. This coincides directly with the affirmation that women were expected to have children shortly after they were married. Since marriage was a means of security for women in the South, it's no wonder that fertility rates remained so high. In As I Lay Dying, Addie states, "I gave aunts the children. I did not ask for them." Here, Addie demonstrates the fact that motherhood was a duty to her husband and society's expectations. She did not ask for them, but in order to be favored in society, her Southern family had to be complete. Yet, Addie herself felt anything but completeness. She describes, "It was not that I could think of myself as no longer unvirgin, because I was 3 now." After the birth of her second child, Addie feels fragmented, and her abhorrence towards motherhood is solidified. This was not uncommon for women in similar circumstances. During this time, Southern mothers found themselves depressed and wanting to stop the act of childbearing. For women, frequent pregnancies made marriage nothing but a dreadful burden. A burden indeed, as Addie's thoughts after having Darrell switched to, "Then I believed I would kill aunts." Motherhood, along with marriage, put even more stress on Addie Bundren, trapping her in the limitations she has as a woman, finalizing her resentment towards being a wife and a mother. You're probably thinking at the moment, but Addie didn't resent all of her children. Didn't she love Jewel? To answer your question, yes, she did love Jewel, but what brought about that love? Addie's affair with Whitfield boldly defied societal norms at this time. She broke the barrier of all the limitations that held her down miserably before. And what was the product of that? Jewel. For women, motherhood in the 20th century South represented chastity and served as a means of containing female sexuality. Before Jewel, Addie says, "My children were of me alone, of the wild blood boiling along the earth." The wild blood described here symbolizes Addie's pent-up sexual desire, not being able to be released due to the stigma the society puts on women's expression of sexuality. It is only after Addie's affair with Whitfield that, with Jewel, the wild blood boiled away and the sound of it ceased. The nagging reminder of Addie's wild blood was finally relinquished with the insubordination of the rules of the South. This leaves Jewel, a now tangible representation of Addie's escape of the confines that society had so previously placed upon her, thus contributing to a true love for her son, Jewel. So, if there's one thing you take away from this video, be it that societal expectations confined Addie Bundren, ultimately leading to her rejection of a role as a wife and a mother. And the key to truly loving a child? Have an affair! Thanks for watching this AP Lit crash course with me, Catherine Scott. See you next time.